Hi everyone! Welcome to My Opinions Are Trash. Today we will be ranking the Glee characters, and I already know I'm about to piss off the entire fan base, so let's go. The bottom tier is called Jail. This means that I not only hate the character, but I also believe they should be behind bars, and the very first one I would put is Will Schuester. Will Schuester is the worst! If you were wondering why I would put this man behind bars, go watch the Rocky Horror episode and tell me you disagree. He's highly inappropriate with his students. All his friends are teenagers, so that should be the first red flag. He treats Emma horribly from when he played with her emotions in the beginning all the way until they were married, and he was ridiculing her for the pamphlets that she was so excited to show him about. He refuses to do anything about the Glee kids getting bullied, even though he's aware it happens. But God forbid, a student isn't comfortable wearing a bikini for an assignment as she's recovering from an eating disorder. This man is awful. Oh yeah, and then he said this. The next person I would put is Shelby. For me to hate Idina Menzel, you have to be pretty awful. Shelby's a terrible person. She sent one of her students to emotionally manipulate her biological daughter, who she was a surrogate for. She selfishly tried to get Jesse to pressure Rachel into making contact with her, and then just decides she's not ready to be in her life after putting Rachel through all that. Oh yeah. And then she returns, and Rachel tells her about how she needed therapy because of her. She still tries to selfishly work her way into her life. She sleeps with Rachel's ex-boyfriend, who is also one of her high school students. Jail. Nurse Penny. Jail for both sleeping with a student and for being the worst nurse in the world. I believe she's going to kill someone one day. Sandy. A known pedophile who for some reason the teachers still let around the students. Jail. Kitty. The absolute worst member of New Directions. She's truly terrible to everyone, and I know that's supposed to be her thing. I won't forgive her for giving Marley an eating disorder. She was altering her clothes to make it seem like she was gaining weight, and she kept telling her to purge. Marley did nothing to her, and she believed she was her friend. Kitty's an evil bitch who supposedly had redemption, but I'm not buying it. Jail. Give me a second to hide from the Klain fans. Blaine is horrible! He's completely toxic and doesn't deserve Kurt at all. Remember when he got drunk and then got mad when Kurt didn't want to have sex with him after he spent the whole night dancing with another guy? And then Kurt just gave in. He openly flirted with Sebastian and got mad at Kurt when he started talking to another person who he was jealous of. He then was very immature in the relationship and then got all mad when Kurt was busy and went to New York. He cheated on Kurt. And then he showed up all crying because he messed up. Then, after they broke up, he was all whiny and ridiculous, and then he tried to join the Glee Club's competition at the last minute because it was too hard for him. Blaine just sucks, and I really wish Kurt ended up with someone else. I never liked him. Okay, so the next tier is despicable, meaning I don't like any of these characters. They either sucked or I just don't think they were well written. The first one I will put on here is Ryder. He's a transphobic asshole, and I get that he was catfished, and that wasn't good at all, but even before that happened, he was still transphobic. He was also a shitty friend to Jake, and I didn't get the appeal of him. I find Jacob to be really gross, I'm sorry. Rory gets on my nerves, and he didn't really do much throughout the series. I also think he tried to take advantage of Brittany when he pretended to be a leprechaun in exchange for her to have sex with him. No. Bree came in to be an asshole for 7 episodes and then was never seen or heard from again. Here's where I may be controversial, but as a character, I didn't really like Finn. It is sad what happened to Corey, and I'm not trying to take away from that, but Finn the character just was not that good. He got with Rachel, decided he didn't want Rachel, slept with Santana, and then realized he did want Rachel, and was all mad that she was with someone else. Then he had this whole thing about carrying the male vocals by himself, even though Artie, Sam, Puck, and Blaine were all better singers than him. He never sticks up for Kurt when he's getting bullied until someone else calls him out for it. He kisses Rachel unprofessionally on stage and acts like it needed to happen, even though it cost them the competition, and he just acted like it was worth it. I'm sorry, but if I was in the Glee Club, I would be pissed. He treats Blaine horribly when he joins the New Directions just because he's jealous of him. Also, the worst thing he could have possibly done was out Santana in front of the school. People argued that she was insulting him, which she was, but they were trying to trash talk each other for a competition, and none of that warranted him outing her in front of everyone. He was wrong for that. Figgins is a terrible principal. He ignores all the obvious bullying and seems to only come for the Glee kids while ignoring everything the football players and even the teachers do to torture everyone at that school. Azemia, the football bully. God, I hated this entitled little brat. Dustin Goolsby. My next tier is wasted potential. Sebastian was a dick at the beginning of season 3. He apparently was set up to be on a path of redemption, but he disappeared. Clint was kind of a dick, but he also had a point. He's in a competition that he's trying to win, and he can sense that Will is deliberately trying to screw them over, so I can't really blame him too much. I don't know, he was wrong, but I understood his point of view. Karofsky had a lot of potential as a character. I liked seeing his more vulnerable side and what he was like after he stopped being a bully. We just didn't get as much of that as I would have liked, and we really only got to see him when he was a bully who made Kurt fear for his life, so that's unfortunately the main thing I associate with him. I don't know if I trust Adam, he looks so smug all the time. I thought about putting him in jail for that Baby Got Back cover, but Joe didn't really do anything. The only thing I remember was that he was uneasy about gay people before finally saying that love is love, and he helped Quinn, which I guess was sweet. He randomly disappeared though, and he didn't do anything after season 3. Jesse is very talented, but he's also an asshole. He was wrong for what he did in season 1. He showed up in season 2 to insult everyone just so Rachel would get a solo. He really seems to only care about Rachel, and we don't see much of who he really is aside from an arrogant asshole. Brody and Rachel definitely had a lot of chemistry. It's a shame he was a prostitute who was never seen again. Who the hell is Alistair? Seriously, who is this? One of the most tragically wasted characters on the show. She was adorable in the first season when she was a shy goth kid. She also was fairly likable when she was in a relationship with Mike. After that, I couldn't stand her. Her whole personality became about her being bitter with her lack of solos and believing she's better than everyone. She was really creepy with Blaine. I feel like she was mostly a victim of bad writing. She could have been a lot more than what she was, and she's the reason this tier is called Wasted Potential. She also was the main one blaming Marley for passing out during sectionals, and that didn't sit right with me. I like the idea of having someone give Rachel a reality check, but she was not a very well-written character. For example, that time Rachel gave a performance and all she said was, "Well done," or something like that. No professor who has that type of reputation would give that type of feedback and leave it at that. I feel like she was almost comically written and not a realistic character, and she doesn't really live up to the potential she had to give Rachel what she needed, which was to get knocked down a bit. Emma's really boring, to be honest, and she was messy for getting in those relationships, knowing she didn't want to be with any of them. I also didn't really like how OCD was portrayed here. There's just so much more than just cleaning obsessively, and I wish more of that was explored. Jake Puckerman is also a disappointing character. I really liked him at first, and then he cheated on Marley because she didn't want to have sex with him, and then was all like, "Yeah, well, this is just who I am." And then we don't see him again. What a waste of a character. He was talented too. I feel like I would have liked Jane, but she wasn't really developed aside from being the only girl at Dalton Academy. More could have been done with her character. Howard Bamboo. It's Demi Lovato and Santana's love interest who is not Brittany. What'd she do on the show again? That girl whose only personality is that she has a creepy thing with her brother and she's really controlling with him because there was something about them having unstable stage parents? I don't know, I wish we could have seen more of her. Sarah Jessica Parker is a pushover who loved Kurt. Nothing else. These next characters fall under deserved more screen time. The first one is Artie. He's arguably the best male vocalist in New Directions, and he was never used. But also, I feel like his character didn't really do much. Does anyone remember him getting a real storyline that didn't include him being in a wheelchair or a bad boyfriend? Starchild. I feel like he could have been an interesting character. He has this big persona, and he's not afraid to be who he is. He's also Adam Lambert, and I would have liked for him to get more screen time. I may be the only one who thinks this, but Shane had some potential. He and Mercedes seemed to have a healthy relationship, and he was supportive of her, and it was nice to see someone date someone outside of the Glee Club for once. Poor Matt. Does anyone remember him and his 2 lines? I hate that he never got an actual story or personality. He seems like he would have been really sweet, and he deserves so much more screen time than what he was given. Oh my god, Terry. Okay. So before you come for me, I do not condone her actions, nor do I actually think she should have gotten more screen time. I don't think she was wasted potential either. As crazy as she was a very entertaining character, and I knew I wasn't going to be bored anytime I saw her. Finn's mom seemed like a good mom. She was always supportive of him, and it was nice to see her in contrast to what we saw of some of the other parents. Millie was also one of the better parents we saw. I liked her relationship with Marley, and I hated how everyone treated her. Again, I do not condone her actions, but aside from Sue, Becky, and Roz Washington, I don't think another character made me laugh more. She was only in a few episodes, but she stole every scene she was in. I will not forgive the show for only giving Harmony 2 episodes. She was a great performer, and I wish she could have done more. She had so much potential as a character, and it's obvious she has really bad perfectionism. I think that could have made for some interesting storylines. Mason seemed really sweet, and I feel bad for him and his crazy relationship with his sister. I also think he and Jane would have been a cute couple, and I wish we could have seen more of that relationship. He's also very talented. The poor kid just wanted to join Glee Club. They did not deserve what Rachel did to them. I think Roderick could have been a good character. His personality was adorable. Emma finally gets a decent man who is healthy for her and patient with her for having OCD, and he did not deserve her. Also, he called out Will in the Rocky Horror episode for his inappropriate behavior with the students, and I love that. So next we have April. She was funny and of course very talented. I think she was around for just the right amount of time, and she gets to come around to be entertaining without being too much. Marley is next. I really enjoyed Marley as a character, and I thought she was one of the better ones of that group. She was really sweet, and the whole way through, everyone was horrible to her. They made fun of her mom. Kitty was gaslighting her into thinking she was gaining weight. She developed an eating disorder. She passed out at sectionals, and the whole team was cruel to her after that. Jake cheated on her because she wasn't comfortable having sex. And then Mr. Shu suspended her when she didn't get to wear a bikini because she wasn't comfortable. And I know that she didn't follow the assignment, but he was wrong as hell for suspending her knowing what she had gone through. And while Rachel gets no punishment for sending someone to a crack house. I hope Marley was treated better at whatever school she transferred to because, oh my god. I personally enjoyed Spencer as a character. He was openly gay and played football. He was comfortable being himself, but he was socially awkward when it came to flirting, and I really liked his friendship with Roderick. I wish we could have seen more of them. Nene Leakes was so funny in this. Sam is one of the most adorable characters. He's so dorky with all of his impressions, and he was a good boyfriend to Mercedes, as well as a great friend to everyone else. Most people hate Rachel. I don't hate her at all. I know she's done some horrible things, but who hasn't on this show? And she's really selfish sometimes, but she also tries to do the right thing. She's had her good moments, and I don't think she deserved the amount of hate she gets. She knows what she wants, and she goes after it. So much to a point where it's comical. I found some of her moments where she was supposed to be annoying to actually be hilarious. I know I would have hated her if I was in high school with her, but as far as a character on a show, she's great. I don't really hate the character. Emphasis on character. He's been through a lot and he's done plenty of shitty things, but he still means well. I really liked his relationship with Coach Beast, and he's had some underrated friendships. The ones I specifically liked were his friendships with Rachel and Artie. Sugar was one of the funniest characters, and I really liked her even if she was tone deaf. Everything that came out of her mouth was iconic. Cassie July was a fun character to see on the show. She was an asshole at times, but she was needed to help knock Rachel's ego down a bit. She also supported her, though, and she was happy for her whenever she succeeded. I hate that Lauren wasn't on the show for longer. One of my favorite things about the show was that they had a plus-size character who was confident and was able to have storylines that didn't revolve around her being insecure about her weight. Even in the Born This Way episode, she could have put that as her biggest insecurity, but she instead said bad attitude. I also like that she didn't fall into the trope of the unpopular girl desperately chasing the popular boy, and instead she made Puck work to win her over. Lauren was the best. First of all, I really wish the writers hadn't given her that catfish storyline. Aside from that, I really enjoyed Unique as a character. She's one of the best performers, and she knew exactly who she was, and she deserves so much better than what she got. One of the best parents I've seen in a teen show. He's supportive of Kurt being gay, and he's done everything he can to be supportive of him. My favorite moments were when he stood up against Finn and said that Kurt comes before his relationship, and whenever he learned that Kurt was getting bullied. I love Bert so much. My top 10 are in this tier, starting with Mike. He was a better boyfriend than any of the guys we saw on the show. He was always there to support Tina, even when she was being irrational. He never once ridiculed her, and he showed her genuine understanding when she proposed to him out of nowhere when they hadn't been together. He was also one of the main ones standing up for Kurt when Karofsky was threatening him. Holly may not have been in many episodes, but she was enjoyable every time she was there, and I think she should have taken over the Glee Club. She took everyone's ideas into consideration, and she encouraged Rachel to loosen up. It was nice to see someone like her in the series after putting up with Mr. Schue for 6 seasons. Everything Becky says is hilarious. She's so rude, but it's so funny at the same time. She's just like Sue Sylvester. Beast was probably the most sensible adult in the entire school. I think his domestic abuse storyline was handled very well, and I think he had a good relationship with the students that didn't cross any boundaries. I especially liked his and Puck's relationship. I don't know where all the Kurt hate is coming from lately, but they better back off. Kurt is so sweet and adorable. I love him so much, and I just want him to find happiness. One of my favorite moments was when he gave Santana Finn's jacket. It was so sweet. Brittany is such a fun character. She always makes the best comments, and she's so unintentionally hilarious. She's always so genuinely happy and supportive of everyone in the Glee Club, even Sugar. She and Santana are one of my favorite fictional couples, and I love their relationship so much. I love how she's the only person who really brings out Santana's soft side. Yes, I'm probably getting so much hate for this, but I don't care. Quinn is one of my favorites, and it's because I think she was very well written. I too had moments where I hated her, and other moments where I thought she was the most sensible person in the room. We see her start out as a stereotypical bitchy cheerleader, then she gets humbled real quick, and by the next season she puts her everything into getting her reputation back. And when she doesn't win prom queen and Finn breaks up with her, she snaps and becomes unbearable. Then she comes back a mess, and eventually learns better. I liked her friendship that developed between her and Rachel, and she just became so enjoyable after her breakdown. I love Quinn so much, and I'm pretty sure she went through the most character development. The best singer in the whole Glee Club. So much talent, and it was underappreciated. Mercedes deserves so much better, and unlike Rachel, she's actually very sweet to people. She let Quinn live with her, even though they historically didn't like each other. She always supported Rachel, even though she didn't always deserve it. She always stood up for Kurt, she helped Santana, and she's just so sweet and selfless. I love her so much. Sue Sylvester is completely unhinged to a point where she might be a cartoon villain. I don't think there was a single character who made me laugh more though, but she was right most of the time. She also was not a terrible person like she wanted everyone to think. Everything she did for Becky, she would have done anything for her. I also think she had a real soft spot for Kurt, and one of the most important moments was when she fought to get Karofsky expelled for what he did to him. In the 2 episodes she was principal, she did more than what Figgins did the whole time. She also worked hard to help Beast whenever he was in an abusive relationship, and she respected his transition. She wasn't near as terrible as everyone acted. Sue is like that person who would be helping you while calling you every name in the book at the same time. And there's a special tier for this last character, and that's Santana. When I was a preteen watching Glee for the first time, Santana's story was what stuck with me the most. I didn't know I was gay at the time, but I felt such an unspoken attachment to Brittany and Santana. Santana is one of the most well-written lesbian characters I've ever seen who I could relate to a lot. When we see her in season 1, she's kind of bitchy and only cares about being popular, and she likes to have boyfriends for her social status. Season 2, we see that she's deeply in love with Brittany, and The moment when she told her that she had feelings for her is one of the most relatable moments I had ever seen. Her feelings for Brittany were so genuine, and I was really happy they ended up together. Even though she was kind of rude, I really enjoyed the friendship she built with Rachel in the later season. She was always supportive of her during that time, and I wanted them to stay friends. Not to mention, Santana also had some of the best lines, and of course, she's very talented. She's the best character in my eyes. Well, I'm sure I pissed off the entire fan base. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.